Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be looking at a brand new add-on module for Accura, which we're very excited about, which provides driver tracking and proof of delivery. So this is the ability to place a job with your selected driver. He will receive that job on a mobile device. You and your customers will be able to track his location. He will also be able to send notification emails and SMS texts to the customer advising them that he's en route or of an ETA and so on, all in real time from any Android or iOS device. When he delivers the job, you will be able to capture that signature, and Accura will sync that signature automatically back into the database and attach it to the delivery note. So this is a really exciting new feature. So just you will have probably received one of these emails from us just to run through some of those main features. As we said, live tracking, also geo sorting of the jobs. So when he receives 5 jobs on his device, it will automatically sort them into location order based on where he currently is. The SMS notifications we talked about, and so on. So to do this, we've partnered with a proof of delivery provider called Detrack, and it's a fully featured piece of software. And one of the nice things about this particular product is that your first driver is free forever, no limitations. All the features are fully enabled. So if you are a small printer and you only have one driver, then you may never need to pay for the Detrack software at all. If you do have more than one driver, then packages start at around $20 a month, so less than a mobile phone contract, and you can provide all these facilities for your customer. And really the way you should look at this is it's going to make you look so much more professional and so much more efficient. It's going to avoid any disputes over whether something was received and when and who signed for it. It means you're going to be able to monitor the performance of your drivers, whether they're taking breaks, finding out where they are en route and so on. And all of this is available both within Accura and through a tracking link which will be synced out to Accura Online as well. So there's a whole host of things. So let's just take a quick look at the Detrack website. So detrack.com, and there you'll find a host of information about features and pricing and so on. So take a look at the quick tour. That will give you some of the core features in the system, and of course what we're working towards is a paperless delivery system, so we don't have to print a delivery note anymore. This is all electronic. And pricing, as I said, it's very transparent. Your first driver is totally free. Any additional drivers are $240 per annum or $24 per month if you want to pay monthly. You could start out paying monthly and then switch to annual, and then you save a little bit, or you could just stick with a monthly subscription, but it works out at $20 per month per driver or per vehicle, let's say. So it's a really good product, which is why we've chosen Detrack to partner with. So I'm going to step you through the setting up of your Detrack account, how to set that up in Accura, and then how we use that in Accura at the delivery note stage and further downstream to track the location of the vehicle and so on. So let's give this a go. So when you sign up to Detrack, you'll be given a client login which provides you with an access to your own portal in the Detrack backend, and in the portal you administer all your vehicles and all your settings and your notifications and stuff like that. So I'm logged into my portal right now, which looks something like this, and as you can see along the top here I've got the different views. The map view will show me where all my drivers currently are. My job queue will let me search for jobs, let me reschedule jobs. So if, let's say, we didn't get around to delivering something today and we want to push it into tomorrow morning, we can do that from the portal. Contacts and user logins, obviously, and then within the settings we've got the various other things. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you get your account details is go to this option here, the API key. Now this is a unique randomly generated identifier for your account, and that's the key that you need to put into Accura to link Accura with the Detrack system. So you can highlight that and copy that to your Windows clipboard. Now this button down here, generate a new API key, the only time you would want to do that is if you literally wanted to set the whole service back up again. So I wouldn't advise you to do that once you've set up Accura, because it will break the connection between Accura and the Detrack servers. So within Accura then, we're just going to come into Accura, we're coming into defaults, we go down to shipping, and we go to proof of delivery, and this is where you put in that API key. So you can paste that from your clipboard straight into there, and obviously we choose Detrack as the provider. These other little settings, check status every. So what we've done is we've written a service that will run on your Windows server, and that service will check for Detrack activity every so many minutes. We don't want to make it too frequent because it will just cause a lot of bandwidth usage. So it could be, say, every 5 minutes would be quite reasonable, and that means that you will get delivery notifications and GPS updates every 5 minutes on the vehicles. I've got it set to 1 minute just because I want to demonstrate this in a short space of time. Also, we have a tick box here called send notifications to account handlers. So that basically means that when we receive a proof of delivery back from Detrack, the account handlers, i.e. the sales rep and the internal CSR or account manager, will be sent a notification telling them that one of their customers for job number X has now received and signed for his goods. So that's a really powerful feature. So that will send an email internally to staff members on your team. These two lists here, one will show our vehicles and the other will show a range of services. You need to have at least one service, and I'll explain what those are shortly. So having got our API key, what we then need to do is to download the software onto a device. So all of your drivers will have a mobile phone, be it Android or iOS, and they will go to their app store and they will download the Detrack app. So let's show you that on Google Play. So this would be for Android. So we can search for Detrack in the Google Play Store. Now several things will come up that mention Detrack. The one you want is this one with this circular sort of tire tread chevron icon. So if we go into that, within here then we would say install, and that will download it to the target device. Obviously this can be done from the device itself. Okay, so to demonstrate both ends of this, the device end and the Accura end, I'm going to bring in to view this thing called a Android simulator. So what you're looking at here is a tool I'm using that actually runs an Android app on Windows, just so that I can show you how this is going to work. So you'll notice here that we have a Detrack ID. So this is running the Detrack Android app, and we have a Detrack ID. Now that ID is unique to this device. So if a driver were to leave your company, you can simply delete his device in the Detrack web portal, and even though he still has the software on there, it will just stop working. So you can transfer between devices quite easily. So this device code here needs to be put in to Detrack. So I'm going to come to the Detrack web portal, and I'm going to go to vehicles, and currently I have no vehicles. So I want to add a vehicle, and this is where it wants that device ID. Okay, and then we name this vehicle or put in the reg number. So it's up to you how you want to do this personally. So you could call this Bob, because Bob is the name of the driver, or you could provide the reg of the vehicle, for example. So I'll call this Bob. And these other stats we can also capture. So what's his speed limit? It will monitor his speed and make sure he doesn't go over the limit. So if the speed limit is 55 and so on. And all these other fields of information you may or may not wish to use. We don't actually use them in Accura. So let's just check that ID again, B496, that's fine. So we're going to save that. And that's now set up that vehicle in the Detrack portal. So on the app, the driver just says start. So if I just refresh the Detrack portal there, we can see now that he last connected a few seconds ago. Okay, so that's all working. Detrack's running on his device. So he's now just waiting for jobs to be assigned to him. So we have our connection, we have our app, and we have the portal basically set up. Just while we're in the portal, I'll just show you some other nice features. If we go to notification, we talked about being able to send notifications to us and notifications to the customer, informing us of the various stages of delivery. So if I go to notification settings, these trigger points here are how notifications are triggered. So let's say he's heading to a site. We can customize what happens when he starts heading to that site. So we could send an email, and this is an email template which you can configure. So you can embed variables into this, like tracking links and so on, or you can just say driver is now on his way. Also a text message could be sent to the customer. You would then provide your message content down here. This uses one of several internet SMS services, a bit like Accura already does. So one of those is Twilio, and the other is bulk SMS, both of which are supported by Accura anyway, so you can actually share the same account. So if you've already got it set up in Accura to send SMS through Twilio, you can just use those account details in the text SMS settings area. So don't worry about that too much for now, but these are those trigger points, and it explains down here what they mean when he arrives, when he completes, when he's received the job, and so on. Okay, coming back to the Accura end of things, we now need to download those vehicles. So I'm going to click refresh, and what that will do is communicate with Detrack and download those into the system. So it says one vehicle downloaded, and there's Bob. So everything's talking to everything nicely now. We've got our vehicle talking to the Detrack portal, and we've got Accura talking to the Detrack portal. Now when you download a vehicle, it will pull down as much information as it can, like the last connection time, the ID, and so on. And it will also create for you 2 services. So think of these just like any other courier. You might have a priority service, you might have a Saturday morning service, you might have an 8 till noon service, or you might have an any time of day service, just a standard service. So you can modify these or delete them or create new ones, but you must have at least one service set up. Okay, you can also customize this information here, so you might want to put in a number plate. You might have like a route or a round number, so he might be round 2. We've got his mobile, and we've got Bob's email address, and so on. Okay, we can also set what are the default services, and if we've got more than one vehicle, we can set which is the default vehicle to use. Okay, so that's now saved. And we're going to complete a job and raise a delivery note and assign it to our delivery driver. So let's come into the orders browse, and we're going to click on active jobs. So all these jobs are currently still active, and I want to now deliver one of these. So I'm going to come up to my delivery van to raise my delivery note in the normal way. We're going to go to our shipping tab. Now anyone that's used EasyPost will notice that this has now changed. It's now asking you whether you want to use your own driver or a carrier. So I can toggle between them, so I can use a carrier using the EasyPost interface, or I can use my own driver, Bob, and choose the service. And I can also forward plan this, so if I don't want him to deliver it today, if I want him to deliver it tomorrow, then this will move it on to tomorrow's date if I choose to, for his delivery. So it's pulled through his details here just for confirmation. And to go alongside this, we've now added the ability to charge the delivery charge as either outwork or as labor. So if you click ship using your driver, it will default to labor. If you click ship using a carrier, it will default to outwork. So you can set these up in your default settings. That's purely for costing this and adding it as a line item to the invoice in the traditional way. So we're going to go with Bob, and we're going to now allocate that to him. I'm just going to bring my app into view to see what happens. So this is his mobile device. So let's post that job and see what happens. Okay, save our delivery note. Okay, so it's just popped up on his screen. So it's scheduled for delivery. And this time when we complete our delivery note, we have a different set of prompts to before, and it gives us the option to output delivery notes or just the labels or both. The reason for that is that if you are using Detrack, then you probably don't want to output the delivery notes at all, but you may still want to print parcel labels, because the whole point of using Detrack is that you're moving to a paperless system, but you're still going to need labels to go on the actual boxes, so that's fine. Okay, so our job list has been updated. Detrack gave us a notification of that, and so we can see that now running on the app. Okay, so right at this time he hasn't done anything. He hasn't even loaded it on the truck. or left the building. So when we go to delivery note view, we can see that it's been assigned using Detrack to Bob, and it's green, meaning that it's an in progress delivery. And we can click the tracking button here, and that will show us where Bob is right now. So Bob is in Swindon. Our offices are based in Swindon, and the customer is down here. So nothing's really happened yet. Okay, so now Bob decides he's going to take off, and he's going to start the delivery. So he clicks on the next job, and he clicks on the camera button, and he says head to location. Okay, so Bob has now triggered a different status, which is head to location, and if we had one of our notifications set up like a text message, the customer would now be receiving a text to say Bob's on his way, estimated time of arrival, and so on. If we now look at our tracking information in Accura, we can see we now have an ETA, and it's showing us the route that Bob's going to take. Now as Bob drives, he is literally going to move along this route, and you will be able to see exactly where he is, and so will your customer. So they will be able to see that he's got 2 more drops before he gets to them, and then he's on his way to them. So that's a very powerful feature. You also have that here on this tracking tab down here, so that way you can scroll through different delivery notes and see their statuses. Okay, so we're going to go back to Bob now, and Bob has now arrived at the location, and he's getting the customer to sign for it. So he clicks on the camera, and he clicks on capture signature, and first of all he puts in, or the customer puts in their name as the recipient, because as you know, in some companies you know, the warehouse or the stores will sign for something, and the final recipient is upstairs in the office on the 5th floor. So you know, it's not him that actually signs for it. So we're going to say that Richard Stevens signed for it, and Richard is going to do his signature. I apologize for my signature there, it's quite difficult to do with a mouse. So we're going to save that, and then he clicks the green button to basically submit that. Okay, so if I click the green button now, so the app is now going to update the Detrack server with the job status of delivered, which will sync back into Accura. Okay, so our job's now delivered, and we need to see what happens next. So the first thing that's going to happen is, if you remember, in my defaults I had it ticked to send notifications to the account handlers. So Accura has picked up on the fact this job's delivered, and an email has just come in to Jeff and Mark, who are the account handlers for this particular customer, 123 Insight, and this is an email that the Accura has generated showing the job, the delivery location, and the items delivered, who signed for it, and when exactly they signed. So that's very useful. Secondly, our dispatch manager will also receive an email from Detrack themselves. So this is a detailed email, and it comes with an attached PDF report showing a lot more information, and it shows the map location that the driver was last seen at and that kind of thing. So that's extremely useful. Additionally, what Accura has done in the background is it will download the proof of delivery. You'll notice the icon has changed to a signature, and the status of the delivery has changed to red, and this button has changed to pod. So if I click on pod, you'll see that I have a proof of delivery window for this delivery note, which says Richard Stevens, signed for it then. This is the link to the Detrack information. There is an actual image of the signature. We can open that image, we can open the folder that the image is in, or we can view the image in a larger scale. And if the recipient had entered any comments, they would appear here. So if he said, oh yeah, really happy with the service, that would be there. Or if the driver had said, oh, I had to leave it in a safe location behind the fence or whatever, that would be displayed there. Now he can also capture on his device a number of other images, so he can capture up to 5 what they call photo proofs. So take a scenario where the recipient's not in, you still want to deliver the goods, and you want to take a photo proving that you've actually delivered the parcels and where they are. So sometimes couriers like DPD and Amazon do this right now. They take a picture and that gets sent back to head office. So if they had taken those pictures using the camera on their device, then those pictures would be available here on separate tabs, and you would see them here on their own tabs. I haven't got any this time around, so no more information. So as you can see, it's totally seamless, totally interactive. If I go into the delivery note itself and go to the shipping tab and go to this tracking tab, I'll have the same kind of information here, when it was sent, and the tracking URLs and the signature and so on. So it's all saved within the Accura database indefinitely. So that's about it. I hope you'll agree it's an extremely powerful new add-on module. It's a one-off cost. It's a pretty nominal charge, and as I say, if you only have one driver, then Detrack won't be charging you either. But if you do have more than one, this is going to make you look so much more professional than any other printer, and it's just another reason really why your customers won't want to go and get their print anywhere else, and that has to be a good thing, because not everyone will have this kind of technology. So thanks for watching, and get in touch if you want further details.